Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Charter Science. Today we're going to take a look at crypto gaming, just provide a bit of an overview and an introduction to the sector. So if you're already invested in a few crypto gaming coins or you've been around the space for a while, this is probably going to be fairly preliminary content for you, but feel free to listen on if you want. If you're new to crypto gaming, I guess this is a bit of a pitch deck aimed at identifying why you might want to invest in this market, what some of the sectors are, and what some of the drivers are as well. So we'll just jump straight in. So the first question you should always ask yourself is, why should I care about this particular sector, this particular investment? So here, why should you care about gaming? So there's a couple of figures here we've pulled from the New Zoo research that came out this year. Popularity is the biggest thing. Almost 3 billion gamers worldwide this year, projected to grow to 3.32 billion by 2024. So you've got a big target market. Secondly, looking at high revenues associated with the sector. So this year you've got global revenues of 175 billion, which is a massive number. That's expected to grow to 220 billion by 2024, which is some significant growth in the next 5 years. And then finally, you're looking at some of the key players. So one of the key trends is the adoption in key regions. So improved infrastructure in regions such as the Asia Pacific will really, spur this market on, bring more people online, particularly for mobile gaming. But more broadly, the Asia Pacific region accounts for 55% of all global players. So any improved infrastructure in that market is really going to shoot it up the curve. So now I guess there's a bit of context there for why we should care about gaming as a broader sector. But if you step down a level, why should we care about crypto gaming? And what does it bring to the table compared to traditional gaming? So I guess traditional gaming, I'd say most people are pretty familiar with it at a high level. It's pay to play. As in your, money goes from you to the developers or to the people who you're getting your game off, and you don't see that money come back in any form. In-game assets are, I guess you could say, they're centralized. They're not owned outright, and they're sort of confined within games. Typically, you're unable to take your in-game assets out of a particular game, trade them on a market, or convert them into any fiat currency. And finally, one of the trends, I guess, in probably the last 5 to 10 years is the growing revenue component of microtransactions. So I guess you've got the fixed cost of purchasing the game. I know some games now are sort of free to play, but typically it's either free to play with a heavy microtransaction focus, or the fixed cost of pay to play is quite high. And even so, microtransactions are becoming more prominent. 35 billion in 2021, staggeringly going to be 51 billion by 2025, according to that New Zoo research. And these are effectively sunk costs from an economic perspective. Once you've spent the money on these, there's no opportunity to receive that money back or convert that into fiat. Crypto gaming, on the other hand, is sort of the inverse of the points on the left here. So play to earn is sort of the central concept, and that's associated with the fact that in-game assets are player owned and are decentralized, so they're not stuck within a certain ecosystem. They will be tradable on marketplaces for cryptocurrency or fiat, and that leads to the sort of third point there, which is that assets are immutable. They exist and have utility such that they are tradable for fiat currencies. So they're an object which, like NFTs, if you're familiar, are the blockchain effectively provides a level of trust that the assets are immutable. And then slightly more technical around some of the tokenomics for crypto gaming tokens or blockchain games. There's typically a governance token, which is deflationary and capped. So for example, this is your AXS, Axie Infinity token. But in addition, there's an in-game transactional token, which can be inflationary, And the point there is that you wouldn't want your in-game transactional currency to be deflationary, typically speaking, because that may cap the ability to bring on new users and the ability of the game to grow. So that's the SLP, Smooth Love Potion. If you're not familiar with Axie Infinity or Smooth Love Potion, and I guess how the governance versus in-game transactional tokens work, I'd suggest go have a read, or we can put out a video in the future on that. Just wanted to briefly touch on gaming and NFTs. This is an oversimplification, but does provide at least a high-level view of the function of NFTs, and that they do sit at the middle of, or at the core of, why crypto gaming, will become, or has the potential to become, as big as the predictions are. NFTs are also central to the metaverse as well. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I guess crypto gaming is inherently dependent on NFTs in the same way that the expansion of metaverse is inherently dependent on NFTs as well. And it's these immutable utility and the tradable aspects of the NFTs which I guess will allow crypto gaming to potentially surpass the pay-to-play traditional model. Graphic here from Nansen, which really just shows, there's a lot on there, but I thought it was quite interesting that Nansen's attempted here to really point out how the different generations of games might flow across a typical adoption curve. So if you're not familiar with this, this is your typical adoption curve. In the blue is your sort of, I guess, net increase of users, and then the aggregate is the yellow curve in the back through to 100% market share. So innovators, early adopters, early majority, and then once you're peaking out your curve, you sort of roll into the late majority and laggards. So the first gen effectively is your crypto kitties. It's NFTs without much more function beyond that. This is sort of present, from 2017, 2018 onwards. And only in the last year, I guess, is the sort of second gen of crypto gaming coming to light, and Axie Infinity is sort of driving that movement. I guess the interesting point is that the early adopters, from a geographic perspective, are heavily Asia Pacific, heavily weighted towards countries where crypto gaming profits, are almost aligned or surpassing minimum wage in those countries. So the early majority really is going to only come in when we have games that start to cross into that AAA status, such that I guess playership is, beyond those developing countries and starts to tap into more traditional sort of gaming markets or more developed countries such as the US and Europe. And the key differentiator there is that piece around better quality. So Star Atlas is probably one which people are familiar with. If you go and have a look at how they're marketed, what they're trying to do. Project Quantum, another one worth noting. These are sort of games that will appeal more to the AAA, more traditional gaming audience. And fourth gen, I think, is just where the traditional companies start to break into the crypto gaming space, if that does happen. And obviously some of these companies already have partnerships with some crypto gaming companies. So for example, Ubisoft, which is the first one mentioned there, do have a partnership and are working actively with Ultra or EOS. Here, just wanted to get a very quick overview of the market and sort of point out that we'd sort of gone from an 8 billion market cap in April, dipping down to 6.3 through to June in the dip that occurred there, before running from sort of 8 million, 11, 17, and as of today, when we're recording this in early December, sitting at about 41 billion market cap for the sector. So obviously, the caveat here is that more crypto gaming projects have come on in that time. So this isn't growth purely by the players that were existing in April and now. A substantial portion of this growth, would have been driven by new projects coming on. But you've obviously had your Axies, Sand, Decentraland, which have, gone absolutely crazy since April this year. And just wanted to highlight here that it is a growing market with new entrants and existing or sort of legacy entrants growing at quite a fast rate. And then finally, just having a look at some of the key market sectors. So I guess we've sort of heard the case for maybe why gaming at a high level makes sense as a growth area. We've also looked at, I guess why crypto gaming itself might be at an advantage, and why the adoption curve, might benefit early investment in this space. So with the growing market cap, there's more and more projects coming on every day. If you've spent any time in the crypto gaming market, there's just so much going on every day, so many drops, IDOs, IGOs, IMOs, which are occurring now. So just wanted to give a bit of a brief breakdown here around some of the key market sectors. So I guess starting top left, you've sort of got the most obvious one, which is the games themselves. So these are, cryptocurrencies which you can purchase, which are either the governance token for the game itself or the in-game transactional token. So some examples there: Axie, Star Atlas, Illuvium, Citizen Finance, D-Race, Gods Unchained. These are, some of the games which, if you just pulled up CoinMarketCap, sort of by market cap top to bottom, this is what you'd come across. Then you move into the studios themselves in the bottom left, which I guess if you take a step above the games themselves, these are the studios that are developing multiple games. Gala has had a phenomenal run recently. Red Fox you'd categorise as studio as well, and PYR, or Vulcan Forged, which you could potentially call a studio. A lot of these coins sort of go across multiple categories, I should say, but I put it there for now. Then you move more into your infrastructure. So these are, I guess, cryptocurrencies or solutions that aim to facilitate blockchain gaming. So you have Engine, looking at tokenizing, or the ability to tokenize for games. You've got super fun there. You've got Ultra, which is been termed the Steam of crypto gaming. You've got Altura and Phantasmal Soul, which are both smart NFT projects. So how do you actually create a dynamic NFT when you're playing one of these games and you upgrade one of your characteristics on your weapon, for example? You need the functionality developed by Soul or Altura to actually upgrade those characteristics in dynamic real time, with Sol being the layer 1 blockchain. The difference there, I guess, then if you move on, you've got then guilds, which comes back to the core of gaming, which is community. So these are communities, or DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, which have scholarship programs which seek to bring together NFT assets. So you can sponsor a scholar, you can be a player if you're good enough within these guilds. So Good Games Guild, Unix, which has just dropped, YGG. Then launchpads themselves in the top right. So how do you actually get a game, a metaverse, or a DEX out there? The launchpads do that for you. Fairly lucrative if you have high capital. Some examples there: PokerStarter, GameStarter, CGG, and of course Seedify. So these are, if you can get in and get guaranteed allocations, big returns. Otherwise, you're sort of left to jump into the lotteries, which is fine, but potentially greater returns elsewhere. And then finally, just got some of the metaverse/NFT projects, which I've blocked here. But you sort of got Decentraland, Sandbox, Remark, Wilder World. These are, your more traditional metaverse projects themselves. I think these surpass and, broadly encompass crypto gaming as a key element, but themselves, the function is a bit different because you have land, which you do have in some games as well, but sort of land sales is probably a bit more prominent and maybe more of the core focus of the metaverse NFTs. So just wanted to bring you guys a bit of an overview of the crypto gaming sector. I hope you found that helpful. Let me know if there's anything else that you'd like me to cover. But otherwise, catch you on the next video. Jump on the Twitter, look at some charts that we do over there, Chart or Science. Thanks.